He says, I'll do it. Mark's like, I'll do it. I don't trust you. So Mark, he's as silly as a cut snake like me. We are Dumb and Dumber. He puts the black dye everywhere on his head, his mustache here, but he gets it all on the skin as well.
Oh no!
I made a mess. So
Talk about blackface, yeah.
And I had blisters in my head from the peroxide.
What, Lee? Why didn't you do his hair white? You were like an expert at that, weren't you?
Well, the girls, women, they think they can do hair better than men. So.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. And we're back for another edition of the Palumbo podcast. I'm Jimmy Palumbo. Coughing in the background is our guest on the show today, and it's going to be just actually this is the weekend of the Pittsburgh Pro Superstar guest posing, so we're going to be talking about that a little bit. And fresh out of bed, Lee Priest is joining us. His good friend Mark, all the way from New Zealand. So welcome, both of you.
I slept in because I did get the text from Dave, and I was laying there, took a sleeping pill, then I went, oh shit. Then I thought, oh, it's already planned. And then I know Mark was probably panicking because he had to get up and still leave the sheep tucked into bed.
I think this has been the earliest I've ever been up since I lived with you, Lee.
Mark, why does Lee wake up so early? Is it an OCD thing, or is it just he just likes to get up early?
I think it's because of his weak bladder.
I get up a million times in the middle of the night to pee, but I go back to sleep though,
Nah, Lee's always been an early riser. Always an early riser. When I lived with Lee in LA, he would wake up, he'd go do his cardio, he'd come home, he'd muck around, then he'd make you breakfast, and then he'd wake me up.
So his whole day was done essentially before you even woke up, and it was probably only 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure. Yeah,
he had probably watched three recorded series of Dynasty before I'd got up.
yeah. That's
when Mark says I made him breakfast, I still can't get over when Mark would sit down to eat, because Mark, look how I always bulk up, and Mark's like, I want to bulk up and get bigger. So I said, okay, you got to eat. And you ever seen a child when you make them sit at the table and you say you can't leave the table till you finish your food?
Right. Oh, that was
the look on Mark's face when I put the food there, and I'd say, Mark, you're not leaving, and he'd sit there with this sad look on his face.
Mark, were you like bodybuilding at the time though?
So I'd won. I actually first met Lee at a bodybuilding contest in New South Wales. It wasn't the IFBB. It was, what federation was it? I can't remember what federation.
World Physique Federation, I think. World Physique.
It was the Australian Championships, and Lee was a junior, and he was starting to make a pretty big name for himself as a junior, and I was a lightweight. And I met him backstage with his mum, and we just hit it off. We got on really, really well. So we spent most of the time backstage taking the piss out of other people.
That sounds like Lee,
yeah. So it was basically like two adults with 6-year-old brains.
I haven't changed.
Sitting
there. But you were from New Zealand, or were you living in Australia at the time?
I was living in Australia at the time. I'd already won junior Mr. New Zealand and the South Island Mr. New Zealand champs. And then me and my ex-wife decided we would move to Aussie. That's where I met my ex-wife, Alison Eyre, who in fact was a Australian bodybuilding champ and world bodybuilding champ.
Okay.
And then I went to the show and we hit it off, and I won my class, the lightweight class. Lee won his class, and he also won the doubles with his mum.
Right. How old were you at that time?
Lee,
13?
yeah,
Oh, 17.
17, and he had the body of like a 30-year-old pro.
Right.
And I'm a lightweight, and I'm looking at him going, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I think you won the overall too, didn't you, Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, you won the overall at 17.
Wow.
And we just hit it off and became mates. Then the next time we met is I'd just won the Queensland bodybuilding champs and won the overall. I'd been competing up in Queensland, doing a number of amateur shows and winning quite a lot. I won everything basically as a lightweight, which is under 69 kilos.
Right.
And I just won the Queensland champs, which was a national qualifier. And Paul Graham, the head of the IFBB back then, rang me up a week later and said, "Are you coming to the nationals?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to go. It costs too much money. I can't afford to get down there and stuff like that." And he said, "We will fly you down and pay you to be here." And I'm like, "No, really? Why?" And he said, "We want you up against Lee Priest." Lee was making a huge name for himself down in New South Wales and down that area, and I'd made quite a big name for myself up top. And he wanted us together because that year they'd managed to put together one of the best lineups ever in the lightweight division.
Right.
They had me and Lee, but they also had like 2 or 3 other competitors that were competing in our class that had already won world championships.
What was your weight, Lee, back then?
I was under 70.
Oh, so you were lightweight then? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, we're both lightweights. And so they've got this lineup in the lightweight class of about 3 other world championship winners, about 3 or 4 other Australian title winners in this lightweight championship. And there'd been talk about Lee a lot and talk about me a lot, just through the bodybuilding grapevine.
Mm-hmm.
So they flew me down, and this is quite funny. This is Lee's fault.
Of course.
We were sitting together. They had the weigh-in for the bodybuilding show at a big Westfield shopping centre mall. So they had this big stage set up. Then the athletes would go back behind the stage, get stripped off, come out, stand on the scales, get their weight calibrated, do a few poses for the audience that was there, and then go off. And a huge crowd turned up. And me and Lee were sitting there, and Lee was asking me, do you think you're going to make weight? And I'm like, I'm fucked if I know. I was like about 71 this morning. And Lee's like, same. I'm the same. And then Lee goes, I think we should take a microlax. Right? I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what a microlax was. It's a small tube about that big with a long neck, and you stick it up your bum. and you
Gooselex, yeah, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, and it releases all the muscles in your bowels, and everything comes out. So I said, yeah, sure, I think we should. Maybe we should. So we went into the toilets. So before even the bodybuilding competition happened, we went into the toilets and we were in the stalls beside each other. Lee decided we'll have a competition to who can hang on the longest without shitting themselves. So we were in the stalls, and I could start to feel my bowels starting to relax. And Lee's going, how are you going? And I'm going, it's starting to come. And Lee's going, 1, 2. And then, like, we're both trying to pucker up our assholes to try and to see who could hold on the longest. And then all of a sudden, boosh, it all came out.
So Lee won? Who won?
Did Lee win? I think Lee did win because he's got a very tight asshole. So we went in and we did our weigh-in, and Lee looked phenomenal. He looked absolutely phenomenal, but I was ripped, like absolutely shredded. They called me, after I got off stage, they called me the Blue Man because they reckoned I was so peeled and my skin was so thin that I actually looked blue. So then Lee tried to get into my head.
Pulled an arm.
Was trying to get me to go buy donuts and eat them, and he would pay me like $10.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He would pay me $10 a donut I'd eat. And I said, like, no, I'm not eating any fucking donuts. I've got my plan. I'm not doing anything. And then we did the bodybuilding show, and it was an amazing show. The lineup was phenomenal, and right from the get-go, it was basically just between me and Lee. Lee with his mass and his symmetry, and me and my condition and symmetry were basically the two questions that were being asked. And the crowd went wild. Where was it? With the
was it one of the, was it Revesby Workers Club then, was it? Or one
Revesby
of those
Workers Club. Revesby Workers Club. And the crowd was packed. There's no standing room. And it was amazing. The crowd were going wild. And this is the first time I'd ever experienced people actually chanting and shouting.
That's cool.
Out their names.
Who won?
Right. Lee won, the little shit.
And the rest is history. Had you won that show, you could have been Lee Priest.
He won by 1 point.
Oh, really? Oh, so it wasn't unanimous. Wow.
No, it wasn't. No.
I heard Lee was sleeping with the judges. That's what I heard.
Sorry?
I heard Lee was sleeping with the judges.
Not if you saw our judges. None of you saw the judges here.
Lee's always blown his way to the top. And then, after that, we stayed in touch. Lee took off. He went to the Worlds, and then he moved to America. And then I came back to New Zealand, and I ended up that following year winning Mr. New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And I approached the IFBB and said, can I have my pro card? I've won my national title.
Right.
And they'd never had a pro bodybuilder before. And the bastard said to me, I'll tell you what, come back next year and win Mr. New Zealand again, and we'll think about giving it to you.
It's hard to get a pro card down this area.
Well, Lee, how many times did you win Mr. Australia? 2 or 3 times?
Three, and Paul Graham still wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They wouldn't give it to me either. So I came back the next year. But this time when I came back, I was lucky because I had the IFBB's biggest sponsor behind me. I was sponsored by them. And I won Miss New Zealand for the second time, and then they granted me my pro card.
Do you have an Instagram, Mark?
Sorry?
Do you have an Instagram or something like that, social media?
Yeah. Mark, I think it's just Mark Rainbow, I think.
Let me see.
Mark W. Rainbow.
We could pull some pictures up so people can see what you look like. There it is. I got it.
It used to come in shredded.
Well, that was the picture Lee sent me. Yeah, I'll pull this one up. This is a good one. And so, how long did you live out in California with Lee?
Well, once I got my pro card, I got in contact with Lee and said, can I come out and stay with you a bit? Basically to train in that type of environment and be around that environment. And Lee got back and said, sure. So me and my wife jumped on a plane and flew out to LA. And the day we arrived, had Lee's address and everything. We caught the taxi to Lee's address. Lee wasn't home, right? And we thought, oh, fuck, we can't get in. And we waited and said, oh, well, we'll go for a walk down the boardwalk and we'll come back later and see if he's home then. While we're walking down the boardwalk, we walked past this little monster, right, that was so big and so bulked up. And
you didn't recognize him.
We didn't even recognize him. Dead right. We didn't even recognize him. And we just walked straight past him and we stared at him. We were like, holy shit, look at that guy. He couldn't hardly even walk properly. Looked like an elephant trying to walk. And when we got back to his place, he was already there. Yeah. And I'd seen how much weight he'd put on from the last time I'd seen him, and it was incredible.
Now, Lee, were you natural when you were competing against Mark?
When I was 17, yeah. But yeah, I was a lightweight, so I couldn't be. When I finally got on the gear.
Mark, did you believe it when you saw what he looked like?
Me?
Did you believe that Lee was natural at 17?
No, I didn't question that fact at all.
Yeah.
Basically, back then, first of all, back then that sort of subject was a bit taboo, right? You wouldn't ask anyone.
Right, but when you saw him, did you think in your mind this kid is on steroids?
No, I didn't think that. I just thought that this kid's weird. He's a freak.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. I actually I've always admired Lee, so I've never thought, oh, he's just been juicing up and he's been doing that and all that type of stuff. And I already knew that he'd been training since he's like the age of 13 and stuff like that. So right. My first impression of Lee was more of amazement and wonderment. Like, wow, that's just amazing. That's just incredible.
When did you start taking gear, Lee? Because that must have been really what made you grow so crazy.
19 after my last show in Australia.
Yeah.
You see those Carl Hensel pictures. You can see I'm 19 at the beginning of the year. I still look like a lightweight class. Halfway through when I'm 19, I take it and put on 20 pounds. So beginning of the year when I'm 19 and the end of the year when I'm 19, you can see that.
Right. Yeah. Your body exploded, I think, when that's people don't realize you were natural so long. When you started taking stuff, it was like what happened with Kai and Ronnie. You just exploded into growth with that. People
also forget he had muscle maturity at that age because he'd been training since 13.
Yeah, but there were other 13-year-olds who've been training since 13 didn't look like Lee. Lee just had great genetics too. So
genetics and his density and his muscles and everything like that. And then when we got to LA, I was probably still weighing about 75, 76 because I always stayed lean all year round.
Yeah.
And Lee,
I put a stop to that when he came to my place.
And Lee's like, you got to bulk up. you got to get bigger. So he started feeding me like a child.
How much weight did you get? How much weight did you gain living with Lee?
I left New Zealand weighing about 76 odd kilos. I came back to New Zealand weighing about 98.
Wow, that's a lot of weight.
And when I got back to New Zealand, everybody was asking me, "Oh, you've been juicing up over in the States and everything like that, and you've been going hard." And I'm like, "Nah, we haven't been doing any juice."
I don't think I gave you any gear, did I? It was just food. I was just giving you food.
You're a natural. Yeah, we're a natural all the way through.
You were?
Anyway,
wow.
he would make me sit at the table, eat my food, right?
Yeah.
And if I didn't finish my food, I wasn't allowed out off the table.
Oh, he was like your parents, basically. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like my dad.
yeah.
You'd almost look up crying sometimes at me like, I can't eat anymore. I'm like, you're sitting there and he just has this blank look on his face and he's trying to...
You know what? It's true though. If you can't eat, you're never going to get huge. The biggest guys are the guys that have the ability to eat an enormous amount of food. I think that also was a helpful lead to your success. The fact that you can jam so much food into your body, you know.
At first, I was so uncomfortable. It was like, this is ridiculous. This is fucking stupid. And I was on the toilet more than I was anything else. Stuff that was coming out of me of the toilet was like, I can't.
We know Lee's diet is not that clean in the off season, so sure.
Like, there's no way this amount of stuff can be in my stomach. This is ridiculous, unbelievable. And it took what did it take about 2 months or so, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Then my metabolism started to turn and cope with the amount of food that I was eating, and then I started to get hungry in between meals. Whereabouts before I was just constantly full and I couldn't eat anything more. And then my metabolism made the turn and got used to the calorie base that I was on, and I started to get hungry in between meal. And Lee loved to stop and get fried chicken on the way home from the gym.
I'd be in McDonald's, Lee would be in Kentucky Fried Chicken, yeah.
Or if we went out, we'd get fried chicken. And this was in between our basic bodybuilding meals. So we were just constantly just filling up with food.
Isn't it amazing you have no blockages in your coronary arteries, all that fried chicken you ate, right?
Oil keeps it lubricated.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
It wouldn't stay in my stomach long enough to cause any problem. It was just in and out.
Hey, did you guys see that Flex Lewis, he tore his tricep?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
But you remember, Mark would get back at me, Dave, by doing silly things like I'd say, Mark, we've got to go to the grocery store.
Right.
So I'd be filling up the shopping cart and Mark would just disappear. And I'm like, where's he going? I must be looking for something. All of a sudden, in the middle of Ralph's or Vons, I hear, Lee! Like yelling, top of his lungs. I'm like, what the fuck? Lee! And then I hear beep, beep, beep. And I see a whole thing of things go crashing on the floor. He's on one of those mobile scooters, acting like he's mentally handicapped. Where's my brother? And I come down the aisle. He's got his head kinked like this drool and talking to someone. My brother always leaves me because I'm retarded. Oh, there he is. There he is. Why do you leave me? And he's like in the middle of the store.
You guys are like Dumb and Dumber. Yeah.
Exactly.
People used to think we were brothers. I don't know if it was because of the accent or because we were always seen together. Of similar height, I'm a lot taller.
I don't think you're a lot taller. You know.
No. And they always used to think we were brothers. So I came up with this great plan. Well, if they're going to think I'm your brother, let's dye your hair blonde.
Oh, because you had blonde hair? You had black hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I had dark brown hair. So the girls went out and got the products for the hair, and then they put it in my head, and we were waiting it to turn blonde. Reading the instructions, and it wasn't turning blonde. And then we put more on, and it wasn't turning blonde.
Oh no!
We put more on, it wasn't turning blonde. Then my head started to heat up. I'm like, this is getting fucking sore, guys. And they're like, no, it's not there yet. It hasn't turned blonde yet.
And his hair fell out and it never grew back.
No, it went bright orange.
But you know, the funniest part here was when he didn't like it orange, Dave. He goes, "We've got to dye it black."
Oh no!
He says, "I'll do it." Mark's like, "I'll do it. I don't trust you." So Mark, here's a silly as a cut snake like me. We are Dumb and Dumber. He puts the black dye everywhere on his head, his mustache here, but he gets it all on the skin as well.
Oh no!
I made a mess. So
Talk about blackface. Yeah.
And I had blisters in my head from the peroxide.
What, Lee? Why didn't you do his hair white? You were like an expert at that, weren't you?
But the girls, women, they think they can do hair better than men, so just let them go.
What did they do wrong?
They thought I would mess it up. Lee would just mess it up.
What did they do wrong?
I looked like such a moron, and we went to the gym the next day, and I was so conscious about how dicky I looked and how stupid I looked. I think I shaved it off, didn't I? In the end, just shaved my whole head off.
Yeah, you still had your big black thing here that was dyed black on the
My face was dyed black. It was like I was in the black and white minstrel show. It was ridiculous.
That's great. It's a good story.
But I'd probably forget all the crazy stuff we did because, like I said, Mark and I are just jokesters. That's why we got on good the first time. But Mark has some things. Remember when we go to the amusement parks and Mark has that sometimes where you'd have like a what is
that? Wasn't a joke. That was cruel. That wasn't a joke. That was fucking cruel.
Funny.
No,
Mark gets it sometimes where he'll just
funny
freeze
to you. Funny to you, you little prick. It was not. David. Do you mind me calling you David or Dave?
David's fine, yeah.
I'm an epileptic. I was an epileptic. I'm what they call a retired epileptic now. I haven't had an epileptic seizure probably since this one.
Okay.
I can come and help you get one again.
Are you caused him to have an epileptic seizure?
We went to Red Flags. Was it Red Flags? What's it called? 3 Flags or
Six Flags.
Six Flags.
6 Flags. Oh, I was 3 short. And we decided we'd go. It was me, my ex-wife, and Lee, and we decided we'd go on this roller coaster. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. And they go, come on, we're going on this roller coaster. So we went on this roller coaster. It did its round. I came off, and I had an epileptic seizure.
No. First you were just shaky, and I made you go back on it again.
Oh, you went twice.
Yeah, went twice. Then I went back on it again. Then I came off, and I wasn't good, and I passed out.
Oh shit!
Right, and then
the thing is, when Mark passes out, he doesn't like. If Mark's sitting in a chair and he passes out, he's like this. He'll be talking, then just go. So he just like.
So I go out to it in the middle of this amusement park, and so Lee, my ex-wife, had an experience with my epileptic seizure. They propped me up on a bench seat, right? Propped me up, and I'm still out to it, and then they leave and go have another ride.
You're like Weekend at Bernie's, yeah.
And then I come to, and when you have an epileptic seizure, what's happened prior is always a bit foggy, and I'm sitting there going, where the fuck am I? What the fuck is going on? What's happened? And then I'm looking around and go, where the fuck is Lee and Alison? Where the fuck have they gone? And they just left me there and wandered off and went and had some more rides.
That's funny.
Because I think it was Christmas time too. Because one time he did it in the house. He was watching TV. We're talking to him, and he'll just stop. So I got all the Christmas decorations off the tree and hung on him. So when he comes to, he's like, "What the fuck?" Because, like you said, you don't remember. He wakes up and he's got.
If you guys only had social media, then Lee would have been taking pictures.
Yeah, they're called.
Yeah, but then another time he was having dinner, and he did at dinner. He was eating, and he just stopped. So I took his food away, and when he come back, he goes, "Oh, did I eat it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm still hungry though."
They're called petite malls. That's when your body just stops.
Right.
They aren't actually major seizures. They're called petite malls, and you just disappear for a while, then you come back.
And you have amnesia from that?
Sorry?
Do you get amnesia from that, where you don't remember what?
Only for like a minute or two, it seemed like.
Yeah, you
only
just
for
go,
like for a minute.
you come to, and you takes a while for you to understand of what's actually happened.
Right.
I actually
The look on his face when he woke up and he's got these ornaments hanging off his ears and Christmas decorations on the couch. He's like, what happened? Why
Yeah, it's great to have a friend like Lee around when you're having petite Maltesians.
thank God I never had,
Christmas
thank God I
decorations
never had,
on you, he's abandoning you in the amusement park, you know?
thank God I never had one in the gym ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lee would always get me back with some always try and prank me. I remember one time we were training in Gold's Gym. We were training in a certain part of the gym, and on the other side of the gym, Lou Ferrigno was there, and he was on the Smith machine. And Lee said to me, "Mark, go ask Lou how many sets he's got left, or if we can work in with him with shoulders." Yeah, all right. Yep, okay. So I went up and I was standing behind him and I'm going, I'd never met him. And I'm like, hi Lou, Lee just wants to know how many sets you got. I got ignored. Waited a bit. Excuse me, Lee wants to know how many sets you've got, or if we can work in and do shoulders with you on the Smith machine. Still totally ignored. And I consciously knew I was being watched by people because I was talking to Lou Ferrigno, or trying to.
Right.
And then I said again, Lou, how many sets you got? And I got no answer. And then I went back to Lee, and Lee's laughing his head off. And I said, the fucking prick wouldn't answer me. I said, I asked him like 3 times and he wouldn't ask me. And Lee goes, that's because he's deaf, you dumb bastard.
He's got to read your lips. So
Yeah. I had to be in front of him to actually see,
right,
for him to realise that I was actually trying to communicate with him, but I was standing behind him, and Lee was just watching this play out.
So Lee liked to make you look like a fool. I see.
Yeah. And another time, I went to the. I was going to go to. We're going to go to the gym. Lee wasn't going to the gym for some reason. He had something on. So I said, I'll go to the gym. This is Gold's Gym. And then after the gym, me, Lee, his wife, and my wife were going to go somewhere. So I said, I'll take my clothes and I'll go get changed upstairs. I'll have a shower. I'll have a shower and get changed upstairs, and I'll meet you guys after I've finished training in about an hour and a bit. And he's like, yeah, good idea. Go have a shower there, and we'll just come and pick you up. So I went and had a workout, and then I went upstairs and got unchanged, and I'm in the shower, and I turn around, and here's this guy friggin' masturbating watching me. Right? And I'm like, what the fuck you doing? And he's like, what? And I threw my towel at him, and I packed a shitty, and I was like quite traumatized a bit.
I remember I think you said to him, Mark comes down and tells me this guy's masturbating, and Mark's like, that better not be over me. But he's like, why'd you tell me to have a shower there for?
Yeah. Lee knew in advance that was quite a common practice for the gay community to meet up, or if you go have a shower in Gold's Gym, you go have a shower there for a reason.
I'm shocked, Lee, that these people had the audacity to do that right in the locker room, though. I know there's a lot of
no
gay
one
people.
really ever went there. I think generally only the gay people showered. Everyone just used, the toilets downstairs.
Yeah.
No one really showered. No one ever really showered there, but apart from Mark and his friends.
Maybe they thought you were gay because you were going into the gay showers. That's all.
He knew what I was walking into. He set me up.
Never showered at home. He never showered at home after that day. He kept going.
For 6 months, I avoided the showers.
That's funny.
It was
No, but we had some funny stories. There's some stories we can't tell where we went on ram raids and stuff, but we can't mention them.
no,
What are ram raids?
the great train robbery.
Yeah, you find out somebody has something, and when they're not there, you go take what they have.
Oh, really? You did that?
Yeah, you know.
Well, no.
So allegedly. it's been
Allegedly.
told.
Allegedly.
I just want you to know. I'm
I
not
can
saying
tell-
it happened. I'm not going to say where it happened, what happened, but I was the getaway driver, watching my friend Mark and Kurt try to ram a hotel door room open and bounce off the door a few times was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And then after this big raid where we had let's just say we had a lot of proteins and all that, like a range of proteins and vitamins. We're so proud of ourselves. We go home, we lay it out on the bed, and Alison, my wife, and my wife says, "Take that back."
I can tell the story. It could go in our favour. It could not go in our favour. And you look back on it and you think to yourself, "What the fuck we were doing? It was just crazy."
But then we'd sort of planned to buy some, and then after this big allegedly train robbery, we did go back to the scene of the crime with money, and the guys were so upset that they'd been robbed and didn't have anything to sell us.
So when would you rob the stores at like night?
What happened is we're in the gym.
There was some visitors from overseas that brought a lot of stuff with them that they were selling from a hotel room.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We're in the gym and two big Russians came up to me.
Well, don't tell the story, Mark. I'm going to Russia on Tuesday. They
might be there.
Two big Russians come up to me and they're like, excuse me, do you think Lee would like to buy some steroids? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll go ask. And I went back to Lee and I said, dude, those guys just asked us if they want to buy some steroids. And I said, they sound like the fucking Russian mafia. And he goes, and he goes, yeah, they do that. They bring a whole lot of stuff over from Russia and they sell it, and then they go buy a lot of stuff in America that they can't get in America, like clothes and that, and they take it back to Russia and sell it for a huge profit. And he said, ask them what they got. So I went back and I said, yeah, we might be interested. What do you got? And they said that they've got Sustanon and Deca. And then
hundreds of files.
And we're like, we'll get some. We'll get some.
How much were they selling it for back then?
About $10 a vial or whatever.
Oh wow, that's it. $10 for a 10cc bottle, or were they like individual ones? Like
that's ampules.
The ampules.
Proper pharmaceutical ones.
Yeah.
So we arranged a time to go to the motel that after training and would buy some. And Lee wasn't going to go in. He said, I'm not fucking going in. And I'm like, I like fucking Russian mafia. Oh, you're going to get you. And it was decided I'll go in. So I went in.
Because you figured that too many people knew you?
Yeah.
No.
Or you were just too scared?
Then I'll get robbed myself.
Because I didn't want to be seen. Then I'm even like, Mark, how do you even know they're really selling it? They could be undercover cops, Mark. And he's like, no, they seem like they're like. I said, look,
that would have been some scam with the Russian accent and everything. Yeah, exactly.
It's like I said, look, I race cars. I'm a good car driver. I'll be the wheelman. I'll be in the car.
So he sat in the car park. I went through the main entrance and I asked the manager behind the counter where room such and such was, and he told me where to go, which was basically just upstairs to the second floor. Knocked on the door. The two big Russians were there. Oh, hello, Mark. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Come in. Now, how much would you like? Well, how much would you like to buy? And we were like, we're only going to buy a little bit. I think we bought 10 vials each.
Right.
And I'm like, I'll have 20 vials of Sustanon and 20 vials of Deca. And then they pull out these bags out of their closet, like big garbage bags full of the things,
Wow.
right? And we're talking thousands of vials.
Really? Wow.
And I'm like, how the fuck did you get that in the country? And I felt like an absolute moron because I was only buying like about 20 of each.
Right. You're like insulting them almost. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, this must be pathetic for them.
You're the funny guy. Like, I'll take a pack of gum. You know.
Yeah. So we got them, and then we went home, and then Lee's friend Kurt came over. We gave him some, and then for some dumb reason, and this is really dumb, I said, "Why don't we rob them?" And
this is like a scene from Pulp Fiction. Now you're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, only a dumb Australian and a New Zealander would come up with this.
Yeah. It's the Russian mafia guys you're going to rob.
Yeah. Lee's like, "Fuck off," and Kurt, Lee's friend, is like, "Yeah, good idea." What are they going to do? Go to the police and tell them that they've had all their steroids stolen? And I'm like, yeah. I said, they've got thousands. We won't take it all. They've got thousands of it. We'll just take some.
Yeah.
And so we came up with a plan that I got hold of them straight away, and that I'll come back and buy some more.
Right.
While I was there, I'll check out the exits, right? So I could work out a way to get Kurt in there without going through the front door, because I'd already been through the front door and the manager knew me.
Right.
So we drove straight back round. I was only just around the corner from Lee's. We drove straight back round, and I met up with them, and we bought some more. And the reason why I suggest we rob them is because when I was in there, they're telling me that they'd met some girls, and they're taking them out that afternoon, and taking them out to the movies, and taking them out here, and then we're going to go here, and we're going to go there, then we're going to go have some dinner, and then we're going to go try the nightclubs and all this type of stuff. Right. So I knew they were all going to be out. So once I bought them and I closed the door, I scouted out the rest of the motel, and the back fire door, I pushed it and it just opened up. And I thought that's our in. So I put a stick. So
this
I put
is like Money Heist, Lee. This little plan here.
I put a stick down there so the fire door wouldn't close from the outside.
Right.
Then we went back to these, and we picked up Kurt, and we waited. And I knew they were going out at 4:00, and we waited till like 4:30. Then we went back, and then me and Kurt went round the back of the motel room. Then we went upstairs and went up to their door. We were knocking on the door. No, they're out. They're definitely gone out. They've gone out on their dates. All right, let's bust this door open. So I went and I took a run at the door. Bam! And I bounced straight back off it and fell on my back.
You guys
I'm sitting out in the car because you can almost see, like, where's one of those motels where you can see through the windows. I see back and boom, back off the door.
And I'm like, fuck, that hurt. Fuck, let me give it another go. So I ran at the door with my other shoulder, bounced straight back off it. Fuck, that hurt. Now I've got two very, very sore shoulders. Kurt's like, give me a go. So he goes to try and kick it in. Like, boom! He bounces off the door, falls backwards. Right? And he couldn't move it. And he tried again. Bam! And he goes, oh, fuck, I've just done my hammy. Oh. So he pulled his hamstring trying to kick the door in. And then we decided, okay, that's enough. We've made too much noise. We better go. We've made too much noise. So we went back to Lee's place. By this time, me and Kurt had got it into our head that we're going to go through with this. And Lee's trying to talk us out of it. And we're like, nah, we're going to do this. And we come up with this ingenious plan. I'll go back to the motel.
Go back and say the manager say you left something in the room.
I'll go back to the motel. I'll talk to the manager because he's already seen me twice. And I'll tell him I've left my bum bag in their room and it's got my passport in it. Right? And I'm leaving the States in a day or so and I need my passport and my bum bag. I'll get him to take me up to the room. Now, this is relying on timing here, Kurt. While I'm in the room, you need to bust into the room with a balaclava on.
With a what?
Balaclava. And push the manager out of the way.
And Mark's like, yeah, because you remember Kurt was black, remember? So have the black guy do it.
Yeah.
Push the manager out of the way, and you need to punch me in the head so it doesn't look as though I've got anything to do with it. But don't punch me too fucking hard because I don't want to be knocked out, right? Grab a couple of bags and stuff and run and bolt and go back out the back door. And Kurt's like, oh, I can make it even better. I can get a gun.
Oh, no.
Like
And I'm like, yeah, that'll be authentic. That'll do it.
Now you've already turned this into an armed robbery. Now you've turned it into here.
So we try and set up our timing and our planning and that all right. So me and Lee drive off to go to the motel. The idea was Kurt took off to get the gun and then he was going to come back to the motel, come through the back entry, up the stairs, burst into the room, grab a couple of bags. Well,
you know what this sounds like? And I don't even know the outcome of it. It sounds like when OJ tried to rob his
get his memorabilia
paraphernalia back, and he wound up doing 10 years in jail for that. But go ahead, yeah.
It was. If I look back on it now, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know how we even thought of it, and I actually feel quite.
Sugar I was giving you.
I actually feel quite guilty about it. To be honest, it's disgusting.
What happened? So tell me what happened.
So I go in and I speak to the manager, and he's like, "Hey, how you going?" And I go, "Look, you know how it was up in the room meeting my friends. I think I left my bum bag up there, and I give him the big story about my passport and everything." And I said, can you do me a favor? Can we go have a look in the room and just to make sure I haven't left it in there because otherwise I'm screwed because I haven't got my passport, nothing. And he's like, yeah, sure. Come on up. He's got the key. So he goes to open up the door to the room.
Right.
And when he unlocks it and turns the handle, the whole door frame and the door fall into the room.
From you guys kicking it, I assume, right?
Yeah. We were basically probably one kick away from taking out the whole door frame in the door. And I'm standing there and I've got to act dumb and I'm like, what the fuck? What? And the manager's like, what's going on? And the whole door frame had just collapsed into the room.
And you got to remember, this was like the late 90s. There was no security cameras at this place.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God. And the manager's freaking out. And I'm like, I gotta find my bum bag. So I go in there and he's standing there, still bewildered about this whole door frame and door being inside the room. And I'm looking around and I'm trying to take my time and there's no Kurt. Come on, fucking hurry up. And I'm pretending to look around and going real slow. In the end, I had to give up, and the manager's like, I got to go get the maintenance guy. I got to go call the maintenance people and get this fixed. I don't know what's happened here. Right. And I'm like, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I'm trying to help. I must have left it somewhere. And he's like, yeah, I hope you find it and everything like that. And I left and I went back down through the lobby and hopped in the car and drove home with Lee. And we're like, where the fuck was Kurt? And I said, I tried to take my time. I must have taken about 5 minutes looking for this bum bag. Then Kurt shows up and he's got 2 bags of the stuff.
Oh shit, he was waiting?
No, his car broke down at the friggin' lights. So he had to run to the hotel.
Yeah, and the funny was when he comes back, he goes, you won't believe it. He goes, look, you went there, but the door was off. So I grabbed the bag.
Kurt goes, I burst into the room ready to go, and I was all go, and the door was on the floor, and the frame was on the floor, but there's no one there. So I just grabbed a couple and I took off.
He should have taken everything. Is what he should have done.
He did.
Take
He
everything.
took everything.
How many vials were there, Lee?
Oh well, I had a big double bed, and the bed was covered. It was covered.
Wow.
And that's when Mark's wife comes into the room and goes, "You need to take this all back." We said, "No, we're not going back again."
We're not coming back again.
Did you ever see those Russian guys again?
Yes, because
Yes.
Mark went back for something to see him about. I think he went back to buy some more. He goes, "I just was come to get some more." And I, "Oh, sorry, we have none. Someone come in and took it all."
Oh wow.
Yeah, I went back to try and cover my butt.
You're
And-
lucky they didn't pull you in there and torture you until you admitted it. Yeah, you're crazy, man.
It was, I tell you, I look back on it now and I was like, why did that thought even come into my head? That was just absolutely ridiculous.
So Lee, hold on. So was that must have been enough stuff to last you your whole career, probably.
No, the funny thing was we only kept like about 10, 20 vials each, and then we gave the rest to Kurt to go sell because he needed money to fix his car.
How much did you guys make on all the stuff he sold?
We never saw any of it.
He didn't give you any of the money after all that?
Yeah, we told him he could
master
have it.
plan
We
you
told
came
him.
up with, Mark?
No, because we didn't want to get it to make money. We only wanted what we needed for ourselves. And then Kurt needed the money for his car, so I said, "You just take the money," and because he's the one that went in and ended up getting it in the end. So just fix your car.
Oh, you guys are too nice. Yeah.
We're not criminals for profit, Dave. We're like Robin Hood.
We're not
Yeah, the
criminals
funny
at
thing is,
all.
you only took 20 vials. For most people, that's
Yeah.
about like 2
Yeah, but
months.
we already brought 20, Dave. We don't need any more than 40.
No, my point is that lasted you a year probably. For most people, that's like
Yeah.
2 months.
We didn't even take half of it.
Wow, that's funny.
It was-
Like, stories like
I know.
that's pretty much how the whole time was. Mark was there. So much silly shit.
That's a good story.
Another time, I went and lived with Lee in Austin, Texas, when he was getting ready for the Olympia. Lee messaged me and said, "Can you come over and train with me and help me with my diet and be my training partner for the Olympia?" This is the one that he didn't do. And-
06, yeah.
Yeah, 06. And I arrive in Austin, Texas, off the plane, and Lee's got this guy with him, and he drove Lee to pick me up, and he introduces him to me and everything like that. And you know how you get that sixth sense that you're like, "Oh, I don't know about this guy. This guy's a bit weird." I had that feeling straight away, and so he picked me up from the airport with Lee, and we drove back to Lee's place, and then he stayed for a while at Lee's place, and we had a bit of a chat. And he was like, "Oh, I work for the government," and I was all full of questions. I was like, "So what do you do for the government?" "Oh, I do a bit of this and a bit of that," and it all just really didn't make too much sense to me anyhow. And then after he had gone, I was like, "God, that guy's a fucking weirdo. Why are we hanging around with that guy? What's his story?" He was the promoter for Lee's pro show in Austin, Texas. And he owed Lee a lot of money. Money went missing, didn't it, Lee?
Which guy was that, Lee?
I don't want to incriminate anyone.
Oh, okay.
And ruin the story.
Oh, okay. There's a punch. I got you. There's a punchline. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. And I'm like, "How much money does he owe you?" And it was quite a bit. And I said, "Where's the money?" And he said, "I don't know. That's why I'm still hanging around with him. I'm trying to find out what's going on." And that's why I'm keeping him close, because I want to see where my money's gone and everything. And I said, "I'll give him a hiding for you. I'll find out where the money is. I'll give him a hiding for you." And he goes, No, can't do that. And then I came up with this plan. I said, "Do you know where he lives?" And Lee's like, yeah, I know where he lives.
Here comes another break-in.
Oh no!
I don't think we got Kurt involved, because Kurt was living out in Texas. Because Kurt moved to Texas. I don't think Kurt
You
got
guys are
involved.
like this is like the second money heist now. Yeah. What
And
happened?
I said, "Take me around to his place and I'll break in and I'll see what I can find that's worth of any money."
You got 7 minutes. I got to wrap up. So go ahead, finish the story.
Yeah. So Lee said, "Oh, that's no worries because I know the keypad number for his apartment." So we went there and we went in because we knew he was going to be away on business. He's told us he was going to be away on business, so he wasn't there. So we get into his apartment and we rummaging through his apartment, trying to find anything of value. You know, I was looking like for a Rolex watch or something like that,
Right.
that we could actually get some of Lee's money back. And we found in the side of his drawer a whole lot of legal papers that he was being sued from other bodybuilders
Oh, wow.
for show promotion. Mike Quinn was one of them. Mike Quinn was suing him for a whole lot of money that he'd ripped him off. And then I found his gun.
Oh, shit.
I found his gun in the top cupboard in the top of the kitchen. And I said, "We're taking this. We're definitely having this." And Lee's like, "Not taking a fucking gun." And I'm like, "I'm having a gun." And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Well, let me at least fire some shots through his walls." And Lee's like, "You're not firing shots through his walls. You'll wake up the whole apartment building." And I'm like, "We've got to do something. We can't just let it go." And then I looked in the room and I found this whole room stacked full of porno magazines. And it was just stacked like shoulder high full of porno magazines. And I said, "I told you this guy's a weird fucker." So in the end, we didn't find anything of anything worth value. So what we did is we turned all the pictures in his house around facing out.
Right.
So when he came home, he would have realised someone had been in his apartment.
Ah, I see.
Every picture in his apartment, we turned around, faced the wall or faced. So we never got anything out of it.
I even forgot about that story. There's so many stories I've probably forgotten.
Who's the guy?
I can't say.
You said you were gonna that was the punchline of the movie.
No,
of the story.
I said I'll give it away if I told the guy.
Oh, is it
Did
someone?
you,
Is it
Did you
someone
ever
who's still a promoter now, or are they done?
No.
No.
Doesn't promote shows anymore.
Okay.
yeah.
Dave's got to get Texas. Was it Lee Thompson?
Yeah, I thought it was Lee Thompson, but he wasn't around then when you guys were doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, he ripped Lee off. He took advantage of Lee. One thing about Lee is Lee is very trusting and he's very giving.
Oh, I know who it is. Is he around your height?
No, he was quite tall.
Oh, no, then I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, he's from Austin, Texas. Lee's very trusting and very, very giving, and I'm more of the opposite. I'm very observant and not so trusting. Every time when I lived with Lee, Lee would always have my room done up like a hotel room.
Well, Lee's very neat. That's why.
Yeah, very neat and very tidy. And Lee would give me money every week just to be there. Like he'd go to the bank. And,
he's very generous too. Yeah, with his friends.
Yeah,
I had to buy my friends.
I had my own money.
You were his security team there, your detail, obviously.
Yeah, I'd have my own money, but he'd go and get $300-400 out and give it to me and go, "Here you go." You know,
that's very nice.
To get anything or anything like that.
We'll have to get Mark. We'll have to get Mark back on for some more stories. But
yeah,
before
you
we
got to
go,
come back over. I'm running out of time here, but
but before we go, I
Yes.
haven't watched it yet, but the whole visa thing with Rami, do you think that's going to come back on him again? Is it the second time he hasn't come?
First of all, there's no way. There's no way that he didn't have a visa. I would love.
That's what I was thinking. If he knew he was coming, he would have had his visa by now.
I would love to have someone who can look up visas. Rami's from Egypt. He's gotten 1 million visas before. He never had a visa problem ever. There's no way that's the problem.
Look, there's a war in Russia. I got a visa to Russia in 4 days.
Yeah. There's something smells like a rat in the whole thing there.
To me, Rami looks tapped out.
He, no one would say anything. He won 2 Olympias, but he's the one who wanted to make the comeback. He's the one who wanted to go to Pittsburgh. Mannion didn't say.
I don't think Rami's body will be responding anymore like it used to.
No. Someone told me he was 360. I said, "There's no way this guy is 360.
No
way." I said, I was 320 and I was enormous. There's no way he was 40 pounds more than I was. He's the same height. I said, it's impossible. I said,
he can't. I think Rummy's tapped himself out, and he just can't get in the condition and shape that he used to be able to do.
I think he probably looks good, but I think he just realizes that there's going to be some heavy hitters there. You know, Nick Walker a week out from the New York Pro. He's going to have Andrew Jack there. And look, Andrew's from Nigeria, and he's been living in Dubai also, like Ramy is. He got there. So, I mean, that's got to be harder for him than for Ramy. So,
Samson was just in Dubai, and he's coming back. Even though
I don't. Yeah, the whole thing sounds fishy to me.
I know, but it's strange.
Anyway, best wishes out to. Let's give a little shout out to Flex Lewis. I think he tore his tricep. He hasn't really said what the injury was. He said
I was trying to find out how he did it, but he didn't say it. I think
it was like a freak accident. He said in one of his videos where he was reaching out.
There it is. Yeah.
And I sort of landed here for a bit in the head there. I heard like a Velcro noise.
We're getting a reverberation. But, all right, we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much, Mark Rainbow, for joining us. And we'll be back more weekly stories.
It'll be a pleasure, Dave. A pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
And Lee, you little.
And Mark, word on the grapevine is there could be new stories, because word on the grapevine, Lee could be visiting your country soon.
Oh, if there's one thing, I've had the Lee Priest baller chain around my neck ever since I met Lee. Every week. Oh, I see your friend on Instagram said this. I see your friend on Facebook said this, and I see your friend. Oh, did you see Lee Priest the other day? Did you see Lee Priest? It's like, fucking, I'm so sick of Lee Priest. I've had enough of this.
I'll be there soon to make more memories. I'll be there soon to make more memories. Mark.
All right, I know. Look, I gotta go. I gotta go rob some steroids from someone. I'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for joining us.
See you, boys.